Do you like my new ABH Riviera palette? Gee, thanks. Just duped it. What's up, guys? Anastasia Beverly Hills announced their new Riviera eyeshadow palette this morning. They launched a little picture on Instagram and Twitter and just all over social media. If you haven't heard about it, chances are your name is Patrick and you live under a rock. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Anyways, as soon as I saw this palette, I immediately was like, ooh, she's pretty. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, ooh, I can dupe half this palette like in 2 seconds. So I busted out a bunch of my eyeshadow palettes, immediately started going crazy just swatching everything on the back of my hand, and was able to find a bunch of dupes. The whole reason why I want to make this video is because, one, my bank account says no to buying new palettes at the moment, and two, because I really want to inspire you guys to shop your own stash. Yes, this palette is absolutely stunning. I love the color story. It looks so beautiful and it's definitely inspiring. Like, look at me today. The eyeshadow that I'm wearing, is this something I would create on the daily? No. Did this palette inspire me? Heck yeah. So I really applaud Norvina and the whole Anastasia team. Like, everybody was just like amazing at creating this palette. But it's not something I'm about to spend like 42 bucks on if I can dupe it. You feel me? So I really want to inspire you guys to do the same. Shop your own stash. If you have any of these shades, there's really no point in going out and buying the same exact shades again, you know? So let's start off with the dupes. I'm gonna start off with the top row first, and then we're gonna dive into the second row. So first up, we've got Sales. This is a matte white shade, which honestly, this palette is pretty unique for that, because I don't own any matte whites. The first and only one I can think of is this one from the Urban Decay Ammo palette. This one is the shade Polyester Bride. Oh! Almost dropped it. This one right here is Polyester Bride. This whole palette is a bunch of shimmery shades though. So even though it's white, it's not as opaque of a white as this one in the Riviera palette. I'll swatch it for you anyways though. You see, it's just more of like a sheen of white. It's not super pigmented. Let me just go over this one more time to see if I can build it up. Ooh, okay, yeah, there we go. You can definitely build it up, but I mean still, it's not like bam. But it works, okay? It works. So moving on, we've got Yacht, which is more of a cool tone shimmery brown in my opinion. I was testing out a bunch of browns for this one this morning, and I dove straight into this new Pixi Eye Reflections palette. This one is the Reflex Light palette. So the one that I thought was more of a close dupe is the center one up here. Right there, this one is called Vintage Gold. So compared to the other shimmery browns that I was swatching, this one has more of a coolish undertone going on. So based off of their swatch images right here, it definitely looks similar to me. Like, look at it. I'll insert a little close-up of the swatches so you can see what I'm talking about. Moving on, we've got Seychelles. This one is a shimmery blue shade. So going back to the Urban Decay Ammo palette, honestly, so many of these shades can be duped in the Ammo palette. This one is relatively old though. I don't know when this first came out, but it was several years ago. I don't think Urban Decay even sells it anymore. That's how old it is. I think if you want it, you can get it on like eBay, but sketchy? I don't know. The shade Shattered really seems similar to me, but the one in the ABH palette is definitely more pigmented and a bit more aqua than blue. But I mean, hello, clearly a close enough dupe for me. This is actually what I have on my lids today, and a few other shades which I will tell you as we get to them. Next up is the shade Palmero. Okay, so this one is more of like a shimmery, deep rosy color. So for this one, which one did I find? Oh, back to the Ammo palette actually. So this one, I went for the shade Last Call. In the pan it's more purple, and when you swatch it, it looks similar enough. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and do a quick swatch of this. Let me just blend this out. It's so hard to do this when you're not actually looking at it. Okay, there we go. That is more of an accurate swatch. Okay, I'm looking at this. Yes, this leans more purple, but it's so close. I mean, you can totally get away with it. I got you. I got you. Okay, next one. I actually don't got you on this one because this is a very unique shade in my opinion. I don't own anything like this. So this one is Seaside. It's more of a silvery, pewtery, muted bluey shade. The only shade that I can think of that I can dupe it with, ooh, is actually not in front of me. Hold on, I'll be right back. I am back with the goods. So this shade right here is from Makeup Geek. It's a duochrome purple with a blue shift. This one is called Blacklight. Let me go ahead and swatch that for you. I don't know, man, looking at the swatches, it actually looks similar enough. Am I good at this or what? You know, I could be totally wrong because maybe in the light they have a different shift that I don't know about. And in the swatches they look different. You know, sometimes that happens, so I could be wrong. Next up, we've got the shade Inheritance. This one is the shimmery golden yellow, and I know exactly what shade to do with this. This is also from the Pixi Reflex Light Palette. This one is what I just exactly described right now. A golden yellow shimmery shade. So this one is super buttery and I absolutely love it. Like, this whole palette is very buttery and pigmented and easy to work with. Dude, this is so hard to do when you're just looking at a screen. Here, right? Yeah. I'm literally on my knuckles. Ow. This is what the shade looks like. It's a shimmery gold and I nailed that dupe. Don't you think? Okay, let me just go over this one more time so we can get it super opaque. Bam! That wasn't the best swatch on earth. Nope, nope. But you know what? It was better than Kim K's. Just saying. Okay, here's what this one looks like with 2 layers. I mean, hello. Oh, by the way, this shade is called Gold Foil. Moving right along to the last one on the top row, we've got Mediterranean. This one, honestly, you guys, I can't dupe this. I have nothing even remotely close to this in my collection. This one's more of a deep, cool-toned, bluish, purpley, shimmery shade. The only other shimmery-ish blue that I have is this one from ColourPop, but like, it's not even close to the same type of blue as, what's this called? Mediterranean, so. Ooh, idea. What if I do that and then I layer Blacklight on top of it? That might work. And if it doesn't, whatever, man. I tried. Okay, we are literally going up to my fingers for this. I can't do this up close, sorry. Yeah, definitely too much of a blue, not enough of a blue. Does that even make any sense? I swear, the things I think of. Let me deepen this up a little bit though. And then I'll go over it with Blacklight. By the way, while I'm doing this, what are you guys' thoughts on the Riviera palette? Like, are you interested in it? Are you going to be buying it? Are you passing on it? I'm really curious to know what everybody's thoughts are. I put up a poll on Instagram. I haven't checked it recently, but this morning it was like a majority of people were passing on it, which is interesting to me. I want to know why. I mean, maybe it's the same reason as me, because it can easily be too talking way too fast. Okay, hello James Charles. What was I even saying? Oh right, maybe it's for the same reason as me, where you can easily dupe it with what you have in your collection already. So, I don't know. Let me know. Is this even looking similar? Oh, you know what? You know what? Kind of is. Oh, on camera it is way more blue. In person it has that duochrome effect going on. I look like I'm about to freaking punch somebody right now. Okay. You know what? It's not perfect, but it'll do. Moving right along, we've got Estate. This one is like a peachy, pinky matte shade, and for this one I would actually go to Maybelline's The Matte Bar. This one is pretty new too, so this one has a bunch of mattes. I mean, it's all matte, but the top row specifically is like a bunch of pinks. So for this one, I think we're gonna go with either the first or the second shade. Hold on. Let me put my thinking cap on. I'm leaning towards the second, but in a way it's like somewhere in between the first and the second. Let's just go with the second. So let's do a nice little swatch. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, Shirin, good call. So this one is pretty spot on. If you want to be very technical about it, the one in the Riviera palette is more peachy, and this one is a bit more deep peachy, but it's close. Let me just even out the swatch though. This looks janky on my end. It's so crooked compared to the top. It's fine though. Alright, here's what we're working with. Next up is Cabana. This is another shade I cannot dupe. If I had to think of something just remotely close to this, it would be also from Maybelline's The Matte Bar. So I'm thinking, of not poking my eye out, thank you very much. I'm thinking of either this one or this one. Again, this is one of those situations where it's somewhere in between, but Cabana is also more of a muted, I want to say mustardy yellow, even though it's not necessarily. I don't know, I think of Dijon when I look at it. Let's just go with this one from the Maybelline palette. I'm gonna go with this first one. You can hardly even see that on my skin. Let me just even out the swatch, this looks so bad. Do you see it? Do you see it? Cause like, I don't. Whatever man, thank you. Next, Coastline is more of an orangey matte peachy color. Do you see how great I am at describing colors? Honestly, like Sephora should hire me for their website because I'm great. So this one, we're gonna go straight back to the Matte Bar. This one, I'm thinking of this orange right over yonder. This one is a little bit darker than Coastline, but I think it'll do. Right there. Terrible swatch. So this Maybelline The Matte Bar palette is super pigmented. The mattes are really easy to blend. I know I'm doing a really sucky job at swatching them right now, but that's because I can't swatch on camera backwards and like try to figure it out, you feel me? But this palette, wow, blows other drugstore palettes just out of the drugstore. Except for this one. I feel like Pixi does a really great job with their eyeshadow formulations too, but Maybelline, compared to previous Maybelline palettes, the Matte Bar is just so good. I love it. Anyways, back to this situation. This is my dupe for Coastline. Now we are going to the Bahamas, and to do that, there's only one way to get there. With the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. So with this, let me tell you, the swatch situation with this palette is horrible. Building up this shadow is just not something I enjoy doing on the back of my hand because it takes a lot of effort. It's just so sheer to build up. When you do it on your eyes, kind of the same thing. You really have to kind of take your time with it. And by take your time with it, I mean do maybe like 5 to 6 layers of packing on this shadow. That's what I did for my crease today, and that's why it's more of like noticeable pink, kind of similar to how it is in the pan. If I swatch it just by itself, it's so sheer you can hardly even tell it's pink or that there's even any sort of eyeshadow there. Let me do this back here so I can actually see what I'm doing. But do you see that? It is so powdery, so faint, so sheer, it might as well not even be there. I'm truly not a fan of this NYX Ultimate Brights palette, but since I have it, I'm gonna make it work. And if you have it, you better make it work too, because a waste of money if you don't. I really wish that I would have invested in like sugar pill colors or something, because this palette is not fun. It is not fun, but it works, and that's all that matters. At least that's what I'm telling myself, because I'm not down to spend a bunch of money on new eyeshadow palettes when I have so many eyeshadow palettes at home. This was a beautifully sung song by a terribly pitched human. Okay, there we go. That is 6 layers built up of that pink shade from the Brights palette. I mean, it works. I'm pretty sure the one from ABH is gonna be super pigmented on the first swatch, and I'm sure that these are all really beautifully swatchable colors and that they're super pigmented, but you know what? Drugstore just ain't on that level for the most part, so it is what it is. Monte Carlo. This one is a Another like peachy pink, but more of a pink than a peach. But a pinky peach. For this one, I'm gonna stick with the same palette again. We're just gonna use this shade right here. It's more of a peachy pink. Okay, what the heck? This one swatches so much better in just like a finger swatch than the pink did. So maybe that pink just has issues and maybe other colors. Nope, this is chalky. I mean, it's a little bit better actually on the first swatch. I actually take that back. I don't think this is close to Monte Carlo at all. Maybe something from the Matte Bar would have worked better. If I had to pick one from the Matte Bar, honestly, I'd go back to the same shade that I picked for Estate, which is this one right here, which was the top center from the Matte Bar. Yeah. That one's gonna be hard to do. Moving right along, we've got two more. So this one is Con, and this one I'm also gonna be using the NYX Ultimate Brights palette for it. Let me just clean off my fingers. Okay, I'm gonna be using this shade right here. Same story with this one. It's just gonna take forever to build up. I'm not a fan of it, and it's nowhere near as deep and dark as the ABH one. I'm wearing it on my lower lash line, as you can tell. Once you build it up, it looks decent enough that I don't feel a need to go out and buy a new palette just for a dark, deep purple. And I mean, on a daily basis, I don't really wear dark purples anyways, so I'm not really missing out on much. It's a purple. So last shade that we have in here is Palm. This one is a deep matte brown, and for this one I'm gonna jump into this palette right here. This one is also a Pixi Eye Reflections palette, but this one is their Natural Beauty palette. So for this one, we're going to be going into this last pan right here on the bottom row. This one's called Chocolate Brown. So this one is just a really buttery chocolate brown. I think this shade is honestly probably the easiest one to dupe, because chances are you have a ton of palettes that have a deep matte brown. Okay, this is a really hard area to get a swatch onto, but you get the point. So here you have it. This, flip like this, is the ABH Riviera palette Duped. What do you guys think? Did I do a good job? Did we get close enough dupes? Is it enough of a dupe that makes you not want to go out and buy the palette? Can I answer my own question? Yes. Yeah, man, that's pretty close. I mean, I have no reason to go out and buy ABH Riviera when I've got it all right here. I'm gonna leave all of the eyeshadow names and palettes down in the description box below, so definitely check there for all of the names. If you happen to get confused and you're like, Shirin, what are you talking about? It will all be there. I think this palette is honestly really great for somebody that doesn't have any sort of colorful eyeshadows in their collection, somebody who's just starting out in makeup. But if you're somebody like me who has a ton of palettes and you've been doing makeup for years, chances are you can probably easily dupe this using what you already have in your collection. You know what I mean? If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know if you want to see more dupe videos like this in the comments down below. I can definitely make that happen. This was so much fun to make. I love pulling out all of my palettes and like swatching and duping everything. So yeah, let me know. Anywho, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!